Good morning. Welcome to our magical Monday. Yet another beautiful Monday in this divine December to teach us, to guide us, to tell us how this year has to stop and how the new year has to begin. Because ultimately, it's a beginning less that we're all reaching at. And today again, we'll talk about feelings, which is most important, prevalent topic for today as well. So let's start our morning with the power of dreams programming by manifesting our dream. More power to us and our dreams. Feels good to see your dream coming true, right? That's the power of our mornings. Today I sat down and enjoyed my little fluid movement. All right. Then yesterday we spoke about feelings in Barbara Sher's Refuse to Choose, and as if by magic, the same thing continued in Letting Go. So it was all about feelings. Today is also day two about the same thing. Ultimately, that as we all say and we all know that we are all feeling beings. And here in this journey of ours, we are going to realize that how we talked about the bad feelings yesterday, that how it feels to be low. And even in our other chapter, we spoke about feelings. And today we'll elaborate there as well. But here today, we're going to understand about the good feeling zone. So, what happens when each one of us feels good? So, before we begin the chapter, I want to ask you, and you can use the chat box and let me know. Whenever you have a good feeling, when you have some new idea and you're like, oh, I want to take it to fruition, I want to take it to, I want to convert this dream of mine into a goal, and you're like, charge up. How's the feeling? How's the Josh? What is it that you feel? Can you tell me in your chat box, like, what do you feel when a new idea comes up and you're like, oh my God, this is going to really work. What a brilliant idea. Enthusiastic, yes, absolutely. What else? How do we feel when this idea is coming up? What else makes, and how do you feel when you're enthusiastic? How's your energy level? The idea to understand today's chapter is energy comes. Yes, it comes. Absolutely. And then you're so excited. You're so happy. You want to dance. You're like, okay, let's do this. Let's do this. Immediately, even if you don't want, you understand that you are here in this world and everything can be created magically. And you're like, oh, I'm a go-getter. Let me just do it. Yes, absolutely. All the emotions that you all are mentioning, excited times, butterfly in your stomach, the levels are high, all that on top of the world, feeling super Josh, feeling full of life. Absolutely. All of the above. So today, let's elaborate on this and let's understand what is that other genre. Name that other feeling. Ruchi, please take it forward. Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You have already described the bad feeling. Now it's time to do what Jess, Lucia, Mark, and Ryan did. Describe the good one. Open your daybook and think about how you feel when you're in full speed ahead scanner mode, when you're completely captivated by something and want to do it more than anything else in the world. Then pick up your pen and describe the sensation you're having in the daybook and write slowly and thoughtfully so you will never forget it. It's time to claim the feeling that draws you like a powerful magnet to what is new and unknown because it's the most joyous part of you and it's the other source of your identity as a scanner. You see, not everyone feels as bad as you do when you are stuck with a project that doesn't interest you. And not everyone becomes as fascinated and delighted by something new and interesting. That's what makes you different. Your mind loves new ideas for its own reasons. Maybe coming up with ideas is just the way your brain dances. Instead of thinking, this could be a great opportunity for success, why not enlarge the meaning of opportunity to include the good feeling? As in, this could be a great opportunity for my brain to boogie. If your brain cells are having a good time, they must be hearing their own kind of music. Let them dance.
All right. So, being scanners, ideas are second nature to us if we are scanners. Now, whenever an idea comes up, you're like, oh my God, that euphoric feeling, excitement. And without realizing, without anything, you are dancing the dance of fruition. You're like, wow, this is coming true. And the feeling is so exciting. Now, let's understand. New ideas are fascinating. They're delightful. There's something very, very interesting. They're out of the box, probably. And that's what makes us different because our mind loves new ideas and it's got its own reasons. Now, all right, we've had this zillion times, we've had a lot of ideas, we've liked a lot of concepts. Now what? Let's go for some nice sound advice by Barbara Sheh. Let's go for it.
I'm convinced you're not supposed to finish 99% of the projects you start under the influence of the good feeling, but you should start them anyway. I have something to say to you now that might shock you and will certainly shock anyone who is trying to reform you. In the previous chapter, I told you that action was important and that the two most important rules are start small, start now. It's time for you to know the whole process. Start small, start now, start everything, and don't bother to finish any of it. What? You heard me. If you wake up with a great invention and you have a fantastic way to market it, or if you realized you could help the families in one inner city block start their own home businesses, and you have a plan to set them all up with computers donated from giant corporations and a way to train all their kids to be computer techies, or if you just came up with an amazing idea for a self confidence video game so powerful that it can get shy people to step up to microphones and make speeches, and well, you get the idea. If that happens, start up the engines. Pull out your scanner daybook or open one of your three ring binders and do a full Da Vinci write up. Lay out the idea in all its splendor. Don't let anything or anyone interrupt you. Get every good idea down on paper with diagrams and drawings and anything else you want. Find information on the internet and print it out on three whole paper. Take the idea as far as your enthusiasm and imagination allow, and don't stop until you collapse and your brain is empty. You will be brilliant. When you are in love, you are a genius. Everyone is.
All right. So the advice is absolutely beautiful. 90% of the times when we read books, we're supposed to talk about goals. Even in this book, we've spoken about goals and deadlines and timelines, right? Today, the thing is a little different. We do everything that our heart wants. We pick up one. Suppose if we have 10 topics right now in our mind, which have potential energy, and we're like, really, let's make them come true. The good news is we can work on all 10. The good news is we can divide ourselves into 20 pages and put the header of every single topic that we want to talk about in the 10 pages and 10 parallel empty pages. So like the book is open, you start from here, and the next is here, and the third is here, and so on and so forth. Now, you're going to be making them colorful, bright with diagrams and drawings and maybe pictures. So the idea keeps generating on its own because that's what you're loving. That's what you're creating. Now, understand one thing. It's very, very important to use our paper world, like the three paper world that we were told in the binders. Why? कुछ suppose हमने 2 pages empty रखे, but एक concept में 4 pages की और जरूरत पड़ गई. Now, how do you insert them in a pre-binded book, a pre-binded journal? So here's the magic of the 3 whole paper. खरीदा market से आपके पास होगा when you bought the diary. Insert those papers after that idea एक के बाद एक. उससे there will be continuity. And the idea is to write whatever comes in your mind. Even if it's bizarre, nothing should make sense. Just bring it on the paper. कि इस world से ये idea है. Sometimes doodling your ideas also give them a shape and a formation. So just simply go and have a blast. There's nothing called deadline right now. All we have been guided is three simple steps, which we have to remember for our life. Whenever an idea comes, just start doodling it. No matter how small the idea is, just start. 10 ideas आए 10 को लिख लो. ये नहीं कि अभी 2 पे वर्क करूंगा 8 के बाद में. Otherwise those 8 will be lost. And don't bother. Just go and have a blast. Now, what should you do with these beginnings? ठीक है हमने begin कर लिया. Now what? Let's understand.
Save them, show them off, celebrate them, and be grateful that you are a scanner. Not everyone can have this much fun with nothing but what's between her ears. And never again criticize yourself for not finishing your ideas. Drop that burden off your shoulders. It should never have been there in the first place because you were never the problem. Gillian knows that now. She is taking another look at all the projects she dropped, and instead of wincing because she didn't take them further, she's starting to see things very differently. Scanners feel the pressure to choose it when they are not made for such a thing. At least that is my understanding. Some things they will follow through more than others. Some they may even turn into a career, but maybe they never will. That is no way means they are weak willed, cognitively deficient, or any other label you would like to put on it. We just have many and varied loves, or wow button is pushed far more often than others, and thank God for it. I hope you'll soon feel the same way. Okay, that's what I had to tell you. It's the same thing I tell people at every one of my scanner workshops. And after a few moments of stunned silence, some invariably says,
Okay. So now let's understand that we are not going to choose anything. अगर 10 ideas आए 10 ideas important हैं 10 में से 2 पे ज्यादा work करें 8 पे कम work करें doesn't matter. The idea is we are not under any sort of pressure. No deadline, no goals, no nothing. Just doodle the idea, stay with it. Many of us who are scanners can jump from one profession to another, another to another, one interest to another hobby to another. That's your nature. It's not something which you're weak or you're fidgety or you're like not decisive. It's none of that. It's the way you are built. That's your DNA, and nobody knew until then. And people say, "Arey, ye to kabhi complete hi nahi karta, project shuru karta hai." It's all right. You have got what you got out of that project, and sometimes being in the project, maybe later interest will come up. So we're not going to judge ourselves at all at anything. All we have to do is give ourselves permission that I am willing to explore this part of me and let me just deeper dive. That's it. Let me start diving. पहले तो whenever we all dive in the pool or in the ocean or wherever, where do you touch the layer of the water? And the initial level, right? First is touch, then you go little inner, then little inner, then little inner. And then maybe you want to dive deep down and swim and find out the shells and the jewels and the pearls. But that's much later. All we have to do is give ourselves permission that I am willing to dive in this world, which is magical, and it's a world that I have created. So we work on that particular part about us. Now, many of us, when we have begun the journey, we will say, now I'm very interested in something, and I'm like, okay, first step, okay, let me buy this. I'll need all these things. Let me buy it. So I bought myself journals. I bought myself, say, some kind of gear, some equipment. Now what? Let's understand.
but I bought all that equipment. I know you don't want to get petty about such little things. But what about all those beads you bought for your new jewelry ideas? And you only made half of one bracelet a year ago. And what about the pile of photographs you developed yourself? And all the pans and chemicals that took days and you never did it again? What about those voiceover audio cassettes you made when you were sure you could do that for a living a couple of years ago? Well, you could throw a work party and bring a bunch of friends in to try to revive some of your semi discarded projects, and that might work for a while. But sometimes you have to admit you're finished and there is nothing you can do about it. If it's a personal project, it won't be a disaster. But if you can feel the loose strings hanging there, if your incomplete projects call out messages of reproach every time you pass them, there is a special tool that will fix the problem. It's called the scanner's finish.
Okay, so a lot of times we start something and we're like, Excitement में शुरू किया and उसके बाद we become passive. Even in this journey of ours, many of us registered, paid up, enrolled, and we're like, okay, we'll do it. And शुरू में बहुत diligently आए. अच्छा आज उठता हूँ, अच्छा आज नहीं उठता हूँ, I'll take it easy. अच्छा मैं online कर लूँगा, अच्छा online नहीं है तो कोई बात नहीं कल कर लूँगा. And the कल never comes. But अगर कोई चीजें हैं, I give example of the session. If there's something which is calling out to you again, oh, okay, let me do it. Okay, let me think of it. Okay, there's a problem, but let me work around it. It's called the scanner's finish. Ab scanner's finish kya hota hai? Let me read this through. It's a very different way to wrap things up than when you're usually taught. Here's how it works. When you know chances are good that you will not be working on a project again, you simply gather together all the parts, wrap them up in a parcel of brown paper, and tie it with a string. Then attach a large label explaining what the project is, what the goal was, at what stage the project has been put away, and should it ever be continued, what the next steps should be. Do you understand how simple it is? Suppose if I bought my, suppose if I've, okay, I'll give example of the morning only. I bought myself a membership into the registration plan of 1-to-1 series, Life Transformation 3. Now with this came 5 journals. So I said, okay, let me work on it. मैंने शुरू में लिखा भी, उसके बाद मैं धीरे धीरे डिटैच हो गया. अब मुझे लगता है कि अब मेरे लिए it's on a calling for me right now. So what do? I pack up these books in a brown paper and I put it in a string, and साथ में I put a big label on the brown paper, and I say that I started this because I wanted to transform myself, or this was my dream that I wanted to actualize. And मैंने ये क्यों बंद कर दिया? Because मुझे ये समझ में नहीं आया, या if I was to ever start again, मेरी next steps क्या होंगे? ये थोड़ी ना हमने 1-to-1 days का registration लिया और इसके बाद हम कर नहीं सकते. Suppose हमने बीच में भी छोड़ दिया. We know the attitude of gratitude will take us places. We know we're supposed to capture our dreams. We're supposed to write our affirmations. We're supposed to, life में क्या चीजें नई आ रही हैं, नए ideas, नए takeaways आ रहे हैं, reflections आ रहे हैं. We do that. Tomorrow we want to doodle. We know we have a book of creativity. Tomorrow we know I have a health list for myself, or like a list कि मैं दिन में क्या कर रही हूँ, my दिनचर्या. I know I have a book called Abhipriti where I write down and I try, see what I'm to do. Now, these are the steps I will write, and next step should be. And these are the steps I should write. I lost interest because it was going over my head, or I wasn't determined, or I wasn't, I wasn't able to speak to the coach, or it was interesting. My sangha, nobody had my back. So, any XYZ reasons, please be truthful to yourself because it's only you who's doing it. Or simply, yeah, it didn't make sense for me. Now, this way, then you walk away without regret. You've signed off on it without pretense of returning. Your scanner's mission has been accomplished. It's all right to not finish a project. That's the deal which we've been guided at. नहीं समझ में आया तो नहीं किया भैया, नहीं मुझे एक्ट करना है कि मैं कल आऊंगा, परसों आऊंगा, तरसों आऊंगा. नहीं, मुझे बस मैंने इस चैप्टर क्लोज कर दिया. Now, although it may not seem finished to anyone else, it's finished for you. It's your project. You did it by choice. You have the right to decide when you are done. It's okay हमने 1-to-1 days की हमने करा था कि हम करेंगे, but मैं नहीं कर पाया यार, whatever XYZ reasons, it's all right. मेरी choice है ना, या मुझे अभी भी लग रहा है कि last 10 days हैं, 20 days हैं, 30 days हैं, मैं अभी भी कर सकता हूँ. I choose, right? Nobody else is going to come and create that for me. You've also created the possibility that it wouldn't be wasted by leaving instructions on the outside. अब जब हमने इंस्ट्रक्शंस लिखी हैं कि मैंने 1-to-1 डेज में इन्वेस्ट किया था, एंड अब उस इन्वेस्टमेंट का मे बी कभी बाद में फायदा हो जाए, तो मैंने पॉसिबिलिटीज लिख दी हैं कि कभी लाइफ में नया ड्रीम बनेगा तो मैं उन जर्नल्स को वापस यूज करके ये स्टेप्स कर सकता हूँ. In fact, if you have the nerve, you can give the parcel as a present to someone who needs something to do. So या आपको लग रहा है कि अभी मेरे साथ तो हो नहीं रहा, but yeah, I can give this gift to somebody else and tell them ये concept है boss, करके देखो. If that works for you, maybe it's going to work. But there's something even better you can do with your little parcel. You can start a collection and call it your life's works bookshelf. So it's like very interestingly, I met somebody. She has an almirah of these brown parcels, and I said, do you know how many there are? And so beautifully, she has a list on the Almari ka palla, and there were 27 projects that she hadn't completed. And all of them were packed in those beautiful brown boxes. Some were so huge, some were so small, and everything had that beautiful yellow paper with all of them. And she's like, you know what, Prachi, one day I know whenever I'm bored now, I just come and look at this list. कि इसमें से कुछ है क्या जो मुझे interest करेगा? And I just pick up one and I start. And many times I close second time, then I write in them first time close because of this reason, and I put both the papers together, front and back. So, you know what, it's not something which you're going to go and say, अरे मैं complete नहीं कर पाया, you know, it's all right. मैंने अपना effort, time, energy दिया और मुझे उसमें interesting नहीं लगा तो मैं बाहर निकल गया. अपने आप को permission देना कि हाँ हम शुरू करते हैं कुछ initiative, उसके बाद sometimes the purpose is fulfilled and we take a break. It's absolutely okay. You're not, you know, you're not like for me, I was guided in December 2019 to take these morning batches. अपने आप से guidance आई थी. My higher self Kamal told me that time I didn't even know that my higher self is named Kamal. I had got the guidance कि मुझे करना है 1-to-1 लोगों के लिए, 1-to-1 days के लिए, 1 hour 21 minutes के लिए, and 3 batches करने हैं कम वॉट में. 3 का ही आया था. मैं diligently किया. But now I also feel that it's time for me to do my Vipassana and my learning with my teachers and the Brahma Muhurat with them. So it's time for me to evolve. So I'm taking a break. It doesn't mean that life transformation series will never happen. It'll happen. How it'll happen, मुझे वो भी नहीं पता. Today it's 1-to-1 days, or it'll become 21 days, or it'll become a short course of 7 days. I'm open and receptive. जो होगा देखा जाएगा. And I'm not even saying that I'm going to put it like in a life's work bookshelf and say, okay, these are my books and I'm keeping them away. Why? Because these books are there. I may not write into them every day, but I know in front of my table when they're there, एक intention होती है मेरी कि okay, I may do work on them, right? So it's all right to give yourself permission that, you know, I am a scanner's finished person and okay, this is my job. I may do it, I may not do it. It's absolutely okay. Now, your next part is जब आपने life's work bookshelf बना ली, you know, is another bookshelf लिखा है. The person I'm talking about has an almirah, so she doesn't have, her thing is life's work almirah. Now, for a person to hold your new for a place to hold your new parcels, you need a bookshelf or a closet with empty shelves in it and a small sign attached in plain sight that says, my life's works bookshelf or my autobiography or souvenirs of an adventurous mind. You can even treat it like a collection of a composer's or writer's work and call it your oeuvre that has a nice ring to it. Every time you have a parcel you've made with your scanners finish, you'll place it on the shelf as a way of creating a small display, almost a museum of all the ideas and projects and plans you loved and worked with. It's very interesting to do this. You know why? अच्छा, कई बार कई ऐसे ideas आएंगे जहां आपका कुछ material नहीं होगा. It's all in the mind. तो create a small treasure box. घर में बहुत सारे boxes आते हैं, pizza boxes भी आते होंगे, right? Any kind of, you know, boxes. Clean that up and put notes in that. कि this is what I had begun and this is what happened. And बाहर लिख दो उसके लिए, so that आपका वो idea is not lost into thin air. I know हम लोग बात करते हैं decluttering की, so declutter करके इसको invest in this. Why? Why is this museum of our inner ideas so important? Because this is a peep into our soul. This is what we all wanted. And let me tell you something. All the ideas that are coming up are coming from your mind. Your heart feels them later. First, they're coming from your mind. एक vision, एक image बनती है, and you're like, okay, now. So first time your heart feels some idea. Oh, it's excitement. Then your mind thinks 10 ideas, and then your heart again feels, oh my God, this is going to come true. And that's when the excitement kicks off. If this system looks a bit simple-minded, look again. The meaning is more profound than you might think. It could be the first time you admire that wonderful scanner mind of yours. It's possible neither you nor anyone else has ever done this before. Before completing this book, I gathered together a group of scanners on a Sunday morning for a question and answer session, just to make sure I had covered all the important issues that confront scanners. I had the session recorded so I could listen to it later, and during the session, I discussed the scanner's bookshelf as a way of learning to respect the output of your thinking. I said something like, the plans and ideas that fall out of your mouth are like diamonds and rubies. But in a culture that only values immediate success, no one sees them that way. That's why we have to certainly save them when you're ready to move on and keep them on your life's work bookshelf. Those are your works, a record of your creativity's travels. The whole time I spoke, it was more than 3 hours. I noticed the sound engineer listening with unusual intensity. When the session was over, I walked back to him, thanked him, and asked why he listened with such focus. He said very seriously, I realized today that my wife is a scanner. I never knew her ideas were like diamonds and rubies. I'm going to go home and build her a bookshelf. Now, if you still wish you didn't have to waste any of your good ideas, consider this Jolly Scanner idea from your bulletin board. Now, let's read some examples. Now, Marlowe, follow through is not my strong suit. Until there is a market for half finished projects, I'm going to have to find a way to fix this problem. Cyrano, okay, here's a half finished project idea. Set up a listing place for half finished ideas that have been abandoned reluctantly. Put them up for sale. The seller will sell all rights and give the buyer all his ideas, papers, and other records. Probably no money would change hands at the time. Instead, the seller would receive some sort of royalty on any income or maybe revenue the idea generates when implemented. Or maybe the more altruistically inclined would be content just to see someone else make their ideas come to life. Not me, though. I want to cut. So, this is what it looks like when our brain cells dance. An engineer from our latest scanners workshop suggested that I put up a scanner's website with a free library of half-finished ideas for others to put into action. Now that's an idea that might get some follow-through. So please understand, all of us here have done a lot of times, many projects that we've started and we've never finished. Now is the time to forget the past. Past में जाके उनको ideas को develop करना is not so easy. But understand that from now onwards, any project which you're shelving down or not completing to fruition, you can pack them up and see them as a reservoir. आज interest धीरे हो गया है, क्या पता कल ज़्यादा आ जाए. At least see it sometimes. See that paper which is stuck in the mirror. Okay, parcel number 1, this idea. Parcel number 2, this idea. And maybe tomorrow you want to segregate them and say, look, this is a spiritual idea, this is my business idea, this is my personal idea. That's the way the binder scanners books are, right? They're divided according to your categories. Again, I request you all, do not feel bad about the ideas not having come true because that was your journey. उस समय उतना ही लग रहा था, उतना ही इंटरेस्ट था, and that's okay. अगर 1-to-1 days का हम एग्जांपल लेते हैं, मैंने अगर 1-to-1 days में 65 days भी शिद्दत से काम कर लिया, on and off भी, कुछ तो मिला है मुझे. It's not like I'm completely a loser. And nobody is a loser. Ultimately, we're all winners. It's a win-win situation. Any day, if you're going for a session, and even if 10 sessions are adding value to you and changing your thinking of your life, it's going to be nothing short of a diamond mine for us. How much we're interested depends upon us. Now, some people may come for 1-to-1 days, but somebody who's come for 12 days may earn much more because he has got something out of those 12 sessions, which the other person in 1-to-1 days hasn't. So it depends upon us. हमारी satisfaction कहाँ पर है? हमने कोई project शुरू करा, नहीं complete किया, it's all right. Tomorrow we'll take this journey forward. But today we're going to be elaborating on more emotions and letting go. But before that, it's time for sun salutation. So let's go for it.
The Surya Namaskar with mantras. Om Mitraye Namaha. Om Ravaye Namaha. Om Suryaye Namaha. Om Bhanave Namaha. Om Khagaye Namaha. Om Pushne Namaha. Om Hiranyagarbhaye Namaha. Om Marichaye Namaha. Om Adityaye Namaha. Om Savitre Namaha. Om Arkaye Namaha. Om Bhaskarai Namaha. Salutations to the universal friend. Salutations to the resplendent sun. Salutations to the energy that induces activity within us. Salutations to the one who illumines. Salutations to the sun moving across the sky. Salutations to the giver of strength. Salutations to the golden cosmic self. Salutations to the Lord of the dawn. Salutations to the son of Aditi, the cosmic mother. Salutations to the benevolent mother. Salutations to the energy that we praise, and to the one who guides us to salvation. The sun salutation now with the names of the postures, both in Sanskrit and English. Pranamasan, Hastuttanasan, Madhastasan, left leg back, Ashvasanchalanasana, Parvatasan, and hold this position. And now slowly progressing into the deeper version of Parvatasan, Adho Mukh Svanasana. Ashtang Namaskar, Bhujangasana, Parvatasan, left forward Ashvasanchalanasana, Padahastasana, Hastutthanasana, Pranamasan. On the right side, prayer position, raised arms pose, hand to feet pose, right leg back, equestrian pose, mountain pose, hold mountain pose, and slowly moving into the deeper version of mountain, the downward facing dog. Salute with 8 limbs, Cobra. Press back to mountain. Right forward, equestrian pose. Hand to feet pose. Raised arms position. Prayer pose. One round of the sun salutation with awareness on the breathing. So exhaling our hands to the chest, pranam. Inhaling as we bend back. We exhale as we fold forward. Left leg back, inhale as we're arching back. Exhale into the forward. Hold the breath for knees, chest, chin. Inhale as we arch back. Exhale into the forward. Left leg forward, inhale. This is a back bend. Exhale whenever we bend forward. Inhale as we bend back. Exhale, hands to the chest. And on the right, deep breathing. Exhale. A deep inhale. A long exhale. Right leg back with an inhale. And exhale. Hold the breath. Inhale and exhale. Right leg forward with a deep inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale.
How wonderful. Let's feel grateful for all the blessings that we've done 3 Surya Pranams and knowing that we've been blessed by Father Son. And now let's go on our journey of letting go. So in our journey of letting go, yesterday we were going through a huge range of emotions. We saw the frequency is higher when it's good feeling zone and lowest when it's a bad feeling zone. All of us came from huge places where we talked about all possible emotions. We started on top with peace, which had the maximum number of frequency. When you're peaceful, everything is amazing. Just below peace was infinite joy. when you're so joyful that everything is amazing. And how do you feel joy? For that, the feeling of love, unconditional love, has to be there. Love, we have fall into love when we have a reason for it. Okay, this is the reason why I'm falling in love with it. And before the reason, there's an acceptance. Okay, this is what I love. This is why it is there. This is where I'm in love, and this is where I find joy, and this is where I find peace. Now, before acceptance, you accept something when you're willing to do it. So willingness is important. That okay, I am willing to do it. Otherwise, you're like dilly-dallying, procrastinating, करना है, नहीं करना है. जब willing is a very, very important part. Willing से पहले neutrality. कि आई एम न्यूट्रल, ये ऐसा हो जाए तो बहुत अच्छा है, नहीं हो जाए तो ठीक है, बट हाँ मैं एक क्षमता रखता हूँ, विल रखता हूँ कि आई विल वर्क ऑन इट. बिफोर न्यूट्रलिटी, राइट अंडर दैट इज करेज. अगर हिम्मत ही नहीं है अपने आप को बदलने की, और न्यूट्रल नहीं है, विलिंग नहीं है, एक्सेप्टिंग नहीं है, तो हम आगे कैसे बढ़ेंगे? एंड इसके नीचे करेज वाज आवर डिवाइडिंग लाइन. अगर हिम्मत है तो सब कुछ है, हिम्मत नहीं है तो हम नीचे डिप करते हैं. और नीचे कहाँ टिप करते हैं? सबसे पहले ईगो आती है, प्राइड आती है, आई, मी एंड एम. जब हमें आई, मी एंड एम अगर है, तो इसका मतलब हमारी फ्रीक्वेंसी लो है. दिस विल बी योर बैरोमीटर, योर फंडामेंटल टू चेक वेयर यू आर. अगर आपको गुस्सा आ रहा है तो आप और नीचे हैं. अगर आपको डिजायर्स हैं, जिससे एक एक डिजायर होती है टू सी मानव कल्याण, जन कल्याण, एंड ओके एवरीवन सिंग कि मेरा भी, तेरा मंगल मेरा मंगल, सबका मंगल हो वे रे. और एक होता है कि नहीं, मुझे ये करना है, अरे मुझे सेटिस्फैक्शन नहीं मिलती, कुछ भी हो जाए आई एम थैंकलेस, मुझे ये क्रेव कर रहा हूँ, मैं ये कर रहा हूँ, मैं वो कर रहा हूँ. एंड नाउ वी हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड that I need to give to get, but इस phenomenal desire में मुझे ये मिलेगा तो मैं ऐसे बनूंगा. That condition needs to change. एक उसके नीचे होता है डर कि अरे ऐसा नहीं हुआ तो ऐसा हो जाएगा, लोग क्या कहेंगे. डर में 90% लोग are conditioned for लोग. सबसे बड़ा रोग क्या कहेंगे लोग. That grips us. उसके नीचे grief, मेरे साथ ऐसा नहीं हुआ, ऐसा हो गया तो I'm the victim, and blame game खेलते हैं उसमें. Apathy. यहाँ आपका होपलेसनेस है कि लाइफ में कुछ भी नहीं हो सकता, अरे सब बेकार है, जिंदगी क्या चल रही है, कट रही है. इसके नीचे गिल्ट, ऐसा नहीं हुआ, मैंने ये नहीं किया, मैंने ऐसा नहीं किया, मेरी वजह से ये हुआ या उसकी वजह से हुआ. एंड इससे इस नीचे आता है शेम. Now shame is a very important chapter. It's in fact like a chapter, and let's read this chapter. Shame की 20% frequency है. It's absolutely like crass, Nietzsche. Now characterized by humiliation, as in hanging your head in shame. It is traditionally accompanied by banishment. It is destructive to health and leads to cruelty towards self and others. आपने सुना होगा ना body shaming. क्यों होता है? People are shaming, and that's really, really, really terrible. इंडिया में आपने अपने आप को देखा होगा. मैं बोल रही हूँ अपने आप को. कोई भी इंसान कई दिनों के बाद मिल रहा है, यू आर चेकिंग द पर्सन आउट टॉप टू बॉटम. अरे ग्लो कर रहे हो, अरे पतले हो गए हो, अरे मोटे हो गए, अरे बाल अच्छे लग रहे हैं. आप क्या कर रहे हो? जजमेंट के लिए एनालिटिकल माइंड में जा रहे हो. एंड आप जाने अनजाने में कई बार पास कर देते हो क्रिटिसिज्म. अरे फेस पे पानी नहीं है, अरे तुम थोड़े मोटे हो गए हो, अरे तुम तो ज्यादा पतले लग रहे हो, एंड समथिंग और समथिंग. In general, we can say that the lower end of the scale is associated with lower vibrational frequencies, lower energy, lower power, poorer life, circumstances, poor relationships, less abundance, less love, poorer physical and emotional health. Because of the low energy, such needy people drain us on all levels. They tend to be avoided and find themselves surrounded by people on the same level, that is in jail. Jail matlab, it doesn't have to be that physical jail, right? Mental jail. As we let go of negative feelings, there is a progressive movement up to the scale to courage, and then beyond with increasing effectiveness, success, and more effortless abundance. Please highlight this. We need to seek out such people. We say they are high. They give off life energy to all living things around them. हमें ऐसा इंसान बनना है with high frequency, high vibration. ऐसे इंसान से सब लोग अट्रैक्ट होते हैं, चाहे इंसान हो, चाहे जानवर हो, चाहे कुछ भी हो. These people have a green thumb and their positive influence all the lives of people around us, right? Now, at the level of courage, the negative feelings have not only disappeared, but now we have sufficient energy to handle them because we are re-owned, because we all have re-owned our power and self-adequacy. अब हम सेल्फ रिलायंट हैं, सेल्फ एडिक्वेट है, अब हम डिपेंडेंट नहीं है, अब हमारे अंदर करेज है, हमारे अंदर एनर्जी है, हमने अपनी एनर्जी को वापस ले लिया है कि yes, I'm powerful, yes, I have courage, yes, I can do it. And the fastest way to move from the bottom to the top is by telling the truth to ourselves and to others. Let me tell you something. Truth is the most beautiful virtue in life. It makes you feel good. कभी भी झूठ बोल के देख लो how your energy sinks. आपकी बॉडी में मूवमेंट्स आती हैं. People are able to handle. There are tests to tell your body कि क्या मूवमेंट आ रही है, उससे मालूम पड़ेगा कि ट्रूथ है कि फॉल्स है. So it's very, very important to understand that being truthful is very imperative. The energy levels are also traditionally associated with the body energy centers that are sometimes referred to as chakras. And the chakras are energy centers through which the Kundalini energy is said to flow once it's awakened to the level of courage, which is at 200 points. The energy centers can be measured by a variety of clinical techniques and sensitive electronic instruments. On the map of consciousness, the chakras calibrate as follows. Crown chakra 600 पे रहता है, third eye 525 पे रहता है, throat chakra 350 पे रहता है, heart 505 पे रहता है, solar plexus 275 पे आता है, जहां से आपके सब dreams desires आती हैं. Sacral spleen जो है वो 275 पे होता है, root chakra 200 पे होता है. जब हम relinquish करते हैं negative feelings को, energy हमारे high chakra में बढ़ जाती है. For instance, instead of habitually venting out our spleen second chakra, we are now described as all heart, fifth chakra. एकदम से जब आप energy बढ़ती है, आपका heart grow करता है, कुछ feelings are amazing. You know, sometimes solar plexus chakra will be amazing. So you're going to be able to see life more clearly and with no more tinted glasses. So आपके chakras enact होते हैं and उनकी aura cleaning होती है. The energy system has direct impact on the physical body. The energy in each chakra flows out through channels called meridians to the whole body. Now, our body has an energy body inside us. जैसे हमारी skin है, so we have 7 forms of levels of skin, and they're called bodies. एक हमारी aura होता है, एक हमारा skin होता है, एक हमारा ब्लड वेसल्स का बॉडी होता है, एंड अंदर सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट चीज है एनर्जी बॉडी, जो दिखती वैसे नहीं है बट फील होती है. एंड इस एनर्जी बॉडी को पूरी बॉडी से हमारे ब्लड वेसल्स सर्कुलेट करते हैं ब्लड को पूरी बॉडी में. एनर्जी बॉडी को सर्कुलेट करता है एनर्जी के मेरिडियन. नाउ ईच मेरिडियन इज एसोसिएटेड विद अ पर्टिकुलर ऑर्गन एंड ईच ऑर्गन इज एसोसिएटेड विद अ पर्टिकुलर इमोशन. A negative emotion throws off the energy balance of its associated acupuncture meridian and the related organ. For example, agar depression hai, despair hai, melancholy hai, you associated with liver meridian. So these emotions tend to interfere with liver function. इस साइंस को पढ़ा था लुइस हे ने डिटेल में, एंड दैट्स व्हाई शी इज कम अप कि अगर लिवर में या बॉडी में, किडनी में, स्टमक में कुछ प्रॉब्लम है तो इस प्रॉब्लम की वजह से है, और इसका ये एफर्मेशन है. सब कुछ मैनमेड है, सब कुछ हमारे ऑर्गन से रिलेटेड है. Every negative feeling impairs a body organ, and as the years go by, that organ becomes more diseased and eventually fails to function. बिकॉज उस ऑर्गन में डिसईज बढ़ता चला जाएगा, तो बीमारी बढ़ती चली जाएगी, तो क्या होगा, फाइनली फेल हो जाएगा वो, बिकॉज आपने उस पर वर्क नहीं किया. गुड न्यूज क्या है, अगर डिसईज आया भी है तो हाथ की हाथ हम हील योर बॉडी में जाकर देखें कि अरे ये बीमारी क्यों आई है. एंड बेस्ट पार्ट अबाउट दैट बुक इज A to Z में लिखा हुआ बीमारियों का नाम क्रोनोलॉजिकली. सो आराम से देखकर अरे ओ या, एंड देन समझो उसमें लिखा हुआ है और हम एक्सेप्ट नहीं करना चाह रहे तो समझो कि अरे क्यों है, कहाँ, अच्छा ओ या, नाउ आई एम विलिंग टू एक्सेप्ट कि हाँ ये प्रॉब्लम है, ओके अच्छा ये एफर्मेशन है. चलो ये एफर्मेशन मैं मिरर पे लगा देती हूँ, रोज सुबह शाम पढ़ूंगी, दोपहर में पढ़ूंगी, एंड एटलीस्ट कहीं ना कहीं कुछ ना कुछ शुरू तो करूंगी. जब मैं ऐसा करता हूँ या करती हूँ, ऑटोमेटिकली वो डिजीज कम होना शुरू हो जाता है, बिकॉज एफर्मेशंस भी बहुत पावरफुल होती हैं एंड सबकॉन्शियस माइंड पे वर्क करती हैं. सबकॉन्शियस माइंड हमारी बॉडी को कंट्रोल करता है रात को, स्पेशली जब हम सो रहे होते हैं, तो उस समय आपकी डिटॉक्सिंग होती है बॉडी में. खाना तो होता नहीं, एनर्जी का काम क्या होता है, हीलिंग के लिए. अब वो उस समय आपकी बॉडी पे हील करेगा, आपका डिस ईज में बदल जाएगा एंड देन यू विल बी कंफर्टेबल। बट अगर आपने उस बीमारी को प्रोलॉन्ग किया, उसका निवारण नहीं किया, एफर्मेशन नहीं पढ़ा, तो बद से बदतर होता जाएगा। कोई आज मोटा, कल और मोटा, परसों और मोटा, तरसों ऐसी चीज आ जाएगी कि बेड से उठ ही नहीं पाओगे। The lower our emotional states, the more negatively we will influence not only our lives but also of lives around us. आपने देखा है ना, जब कभी आपको गुस्सा आता है या आप लो फील करते हो, आपकी काउंटर पार्ट पे, बच्चों पे, पेरेंट्स पे, स्टाफ पे भी फर्क पड़ता है, क्योंकि आपकी एनर्जी डाउन है and you become a catalyst. The higher the emotional level of evolution, the more positive our life becomes on all levels, and we support all life around us. As negative emotions are acknowledged and surrendered, we get freer and move up the scale, eventually experiencing predominantly positive feelings. All lower feelings and limitations and emotions are limitations. They blind us to reality of our true self. As we surrender up our way, we are going up the scale and nearly the top, and the new type of experience begins to happen. Now, जब हम स्केल के पूरे टॉप पे हो जाते हैं, जहां बहुत अच्छा फील कर रहे हैं, धीरे धीरे हमने अपने आप को एलिवेट किया है, जब वहां जाते हैं, वहां रियलाइजेशन अकर होती है कि ओ दिस इज माय ट्रू सेल्फ, एंड तब एक लाइट की फीलिंग आती है, लव एंड लाइट की, बिकॉज दैट्स व्हेन वेरिंग लेवल्स ऑफ इल्यूमिनेशन हिट अस। जब हम अच्छे होते हैं ना, तब अच्छा चीजें हमारे सामने आती है, तब मालूम पड़ता है कि अरे मेरा तो एसेंस ये है, दिस इज माय थिंग, दिस इज माय पर्पस। The main importance of this is to note that we get higher and freer, what the world calls spiritual awareness, intuition, and a growth of consciousness occurs. This is the common experience of all who surrender their negative feelings. They become more and more conscious. That which is possible to see or experience at lower levels of consciousness becomes self-evident and stunningly obvious at higher levels. जो चीज नहीं समझ में आती थी हम लोग को पहले, हम ड्रजरी या ड्रेडरी में रह रहे हैं, वो एकदम से लगता है कि अरे वो तो कुछ भी नहीं था, दिमाग ने बनाया था। जो कई लोग बोलते हैं ना हमको डिप्रेशन है, फैमिली में जेनेटिक आपने दिमाग में डाल लिया है, कैंसरस फैमिली में है, इट्स ऑल बुलशिट। we have to do is understand our emotions. कहाँ से हम resonate कर रहे हैं? What is happening in us? So let's start this understanding emotions, though हम complete नहीं कर पाएंगे आज, but let's start it. क्योंकि जब तक हम अपने emotions को नहीं समझेंगे, accept नहीं करेंगे, हम आगे नहीं बढ़ पाएंगे. According to scientific findings, all thoughts are filled in the mind's memory bank under a filing system based upon the associated feelings and its inner gradations. They are filed according to feeling tone, not fact. I said पहले भी हम सब feeling beings हैं. हमारी फीलिंग के हिसाब से हमारे सबकॉन्शियस माइंड में प्रोग्रामिंग के हिसाब से फाइलिंग हुई है. नाउ साइंटिफिक एविडेंस है जिसने ऑब्जर्व किया है सेल्फ अवेयरनेस कॉन्शियसनेस को कि दैट इंक्रीजेस बाय ऑब्जर्विंग फीलिंग्स रादर देन थॉट्स. हम थॉट्स को नहीं ऑब्जर्व कर सकते, ये बात ध्यान दे लीजिएगा. अगर हम फीलिंग्स को चेंज करेंगे, थॉट्स हजारों उसके साथ जो एसोसिएटेड अपने आप बदल जाएंगी. तो फीलिंग्स को ऑब्जर्व करना इज बेटर. The thoughts associated with even one feeling may literally run into thousands. The understanding of the underlying emotion and its correct handling is therefore more rewarding and less time consuming than dealing with one's thoughts. So शुरू में हम लोग को टाइम लगेगा समझने में, पर एक बार हम अपनी फीलिंग को समझना शुरू कर दें कि मुझे क्या फील हो रहा है, अपना हाथ अपने हार्ट पे रख के, अपने आंखें बंद करके 3 डीप ब्रेथ लेकर कि अभी मैं कैसा फील कर रहा हूँ. द मिनट में हम वो करते हैं, ऑल ऑफ अ सडन हमारी बाकी थॉट्स तब्दीली हो जाती हैं. क्यों बोलते हैं कि अपने हार्ट पे रख के जब कभी भी लॉस्ट हो, उस एक इंसान का नाम और रूप सोच लो जिसको आप बहुत लव करते हो, चाहे वो आपका बच्चा है चाहे पेरेंट है. एकदम से आपके मन में करुणा, लव, एम्पैथी, इनकी फीलिंग्स आ जाएंगी एंड थॉट्स बदल जाएंगी. जो थॉट्स बोल रही थी ये भी घटिया, ये भी घटिया, ये भी घटिया, ये भी घटिया, एकदम से बोले वाह यार दिस इज सो ब्यूटीफुल. उनकी ब्लेसिंग, उनका लव, उनकी किस, इट फील्स सो अमेजिंग. Feelings are what we have. Feelings are what we are. feelings are what we have to expand because feelings are changeable. Good news is feelings को control करना हमारे हाथ में है. शुरू में, in the beginning, if one is unfamiliar with the whole subject of feelings, it is often advisable to begin merely by observing them without any intention of doing anything about them. अभी चेंज भी नहीं करना है, कुछ नहीं करना है, बस ऑब्जर्व करना है. What am I feeling? In this space, some clarification will occur about the relationship between feelings and thoughts. After there is more familiarity, some experimentation can then occur. For instance, certain areas of thoughts that tend to reoccur can be set aside and the feeling associated with them identified. Gradually, जब हम अपने thoughts को देखेंगे, हमें मालूम पड़ जाएगा ऐसा होता है तो मेरी ऐसी feelings आती हैं. The feelings can be worked by with first attempting to accept it. जैसा है ठीक है, उसको रेजिस्ट नहीं करना, उससे घबराना नहीं है, उसको रिडिक्यूल नहीं करना, कंडेम नहीं करना, जज नहीं करना. जैसा है ठीक है, मैं बस देख रहा हूं कैसा है. Then one begins to empty out the energy of the feeling directly by letting it be what it is until it runs out. अगर मैं उसको expand नहीं करूंगी तो धीरे धीरे वो feeling खत्म हो जाएगी, because वो feeling है खत्म तो होगी. Somewhat later, the former thoughts can now be looked at and the characteristics will be observed to have changed. You will observe कि आपकी वजह से वो thoughts बदल गई, वो feelings बदली, उसकी वजह से thoughts बदल गई तो शायद reality बदल गई. Now, if the feeling has been totally surrendered and let go, usually all the thoughts associated with it also disappear entirely and they're replaced by a concluding thought which handles the matter quickly. For example, example समझते हैं कैसे इसको कर सकते हैं. अब एक केस स्टडी है एक आदमी की who's misplaced his passport shortly before going on a foreign country. Now, as the scheduled date of departure is drawing closer and closer, his panic is increasing. His mind raced wildly, trying to think where the passport could have been misplaced. He searched high and low. He tried various mental tricks to no avail. He berated himself. How could I have been so stupid to lose a passport? Now, there isn't time to get another one. Now, as a fateful day approaches, he faced a real dilemma. No passport, no trip. Missing the trip had a lot of negative consequences because it was both business and pleasure. And it would have created a difficult situation. Finally, he remembered to do with letting go technique. अब वो बैठ गया and he asked himself, what is the basic feeling that I have been ignoring? To his surprise, ये सवाल बहुत important है. जब हमें अपनी feelings को analyze करना हो, what is the basic feeling that I've been ignoring? मैं कैसा feel कर रहा हूँ, जो मैंने अभी देखा भी नहीं, क्या मुझे वो दिखाएंगे? अपने आप से ये willingness question पूछना पड़ेगा. किससे पूछ रहे हैं हमें question? पहली बात तो मैं soul हूँ और मैं एक question soul से पूछूं so that मेरे को help मिल जाए. Now, to his surprise, the basic feeling that came up was grief. उसकी feeling में passport loss हो गया, उससे क्या है grief आया. Grief associated था कि मैं separate नहीं होना चाह रहा अपने loved one से and एक fear of loss आया relationship के लिए because उसका personal relationship भी था. And weakening feel हुई कि उसके absence में मैं नहीं जा पाऊंगा तो ये weakening होगी. जैसे उसने अपने grief को छोड़ा, as he let go of the grief and the associated fear, he suddenly felt at peace. So please turn the page about this matter. He also concluded that if the relationship couldn't handle a 2-week absence, it wasn't worth all that much any which ways. So there was really nothing at risk. As soon as he felt at peace, he instantly remembered where the passport was. Do you see? Grief, lowest feeling पे वो है. And जैसे उसने छोड़ा कि अरे क्या है, कि क्या होगा, कि क्या मेरा relationship इतना weak है कि 2 week का absence नहीं ले सकता? क्या इसके लिए इतना risk लेना फायदा भी है? मैं क्यों इतना से attach हो रहा हूँ? कुछ भी तो risk पे नहीं. How does it matter? And how does it matter से उसको आया peace. Now peace आते के साथ ही memory ने बता दिया passport कहाँ है. Absolutely, grief creates panic. Grief के साथ वो feeling ये नहीं हो जाएगा, वो नहीं हो जाएगा. You just held his energy so up and down. In fact, it was a place so simple and obvious that only unconscious blocking could explain why he had not remembered it. Needless to say, all of the thousands of thoughts about the missing passport, the failed trip, and the potential consequences instantly disappeared. His emotional state became one of gratitude and happiness instead of frustration. So कितना आसान था ना? उसने क्या किया? Did anybody see उसने किया क्या इस फीलिंग में आने के लिए? What did he do? क्या लिखा था इसमें? He sat down and asked himself. No, Ruchi, first step was sat down and asked himself. Willing था वो करने के लिए. सबसे बड़ी थी मंशा, इंटेंशन कि मुझे लेट गो करना है, मुझे सरेंडर करना है, यस ऋतु, एंड मुझे पूछना है अपने आप से कि मैं क्यों इस सिचुएशन को होल्ड करके बैठा हूं, क्या है, व्हाट इज इट. 3 डीप ब्रेथ्स ली, आंखें बंद करी, अपने आप से पूछा, एंड जो सवाल का जवाब आया उससे और सवाल पूछा, उसका और जवाब आया, और सवाल पूछा और जवाब आया, तब यूरेका मोमेंट आया, दिस इज व्हाट हैपेंड. एंड जब वो यूरेका मोमेंट आता है तब पीस आता है उसके साथ. एंड जब उस राह पे चलते हैं तो ग्रैटिट्यूड एंड हैप्पीनेस आता है. फ्रस्ट्रेशन इज ओवर. Now, letting go can be a very powerful and a very useful exercise in our everyday life situation, events, and the way we experience our life. But its use in life crisis can be crucial in preventing and alleviating large amounts of suffering. जब लाइफ में क्राइसिस आता है ना, हम ग्रीफ में जाएंगे ना तो और नीचे जाएंगे. और हम बोल रहे हैं, फॉर एग्जाम्पल मैं ऋतु का एग्जाम्पल लेती हूँ. शी लॉस्ट हर मदर, शी लॉस्ट हर फादर 5 months ago. ओके, सो ऋतु का हम एग्जाम्पल अगर लेते हैं और हम सोचते हैं कि अरे अब तो पेरेंट्स नहीं है, बोथ ऑफ देम आर नो लॉन्गर देयर, मैं इतना ग्रीफ में कर रही हूँ, क्या वो वापस आ जाएंगे लाइफ में? उनकी मेमोरीज को अगर मैं एंजॉय करूँ, द गुड टाइम्स इफ आई सी एंड इफ आई काउंट द ब्लेसिंग्स, एंड मुझे सुना है मैंने कि वो हमारे आसपास ही हैं, ऑल आई हैव टू डू इज जस्ट take the blessings there. If I can ask them कि अगर आप हैं तो ये पन्ना पलट जाए या पत्ता उड़ जाए, एंड जब वो होता है तो I'm like, oh my God, my parents are around me now. I don't, that moment is like the feeling of being blessed, of happy. Oh my God, physically नहीं है but emotionally तो यहाँ पर हैं. I can feel them around me. And that is a time when you're grateful rather than you're remorseful कि life ने ऐसा क्यों किया. In our spiritual journey हमें अब ये भी पता चल गया है, चीजें हमारे अच्छे के लिए होती हैं, चाहे हम बड़ी पिक्चर देख पा रहे कि नहीं. हमको अपने कैमरास को वाइड एंगल करना पड़ता है एट टाइम्स, एंड दैट इज व्हेन वी आर अंडरस्टैंडिंग दैट हाउ वी कैन प्रिवेंट क्राइसिस. हम सफरिंग से अपने आप को एलिवेट कैसे कर सकते हैं. इन अ लाइफ क्राइसिस देयर इज यूजुअली एन ओवरवेलमिंग ऑफ इमोशंस. यू आर सो ओवरवेल्म्ड यू कांट सी स्ट्रेट. इट्स लाइक आपकी आंखों के सामने चश्मा, काला चश्मा आ गया, एकदम सब कुछ फॉगी एंड डार्क हो जाता है. Now, crisis has tapped into one of your major areas of suppressed or repressed feelings. अभी क्या होता है, हम लोग बचपन से हम अधीन होते हैं, we used to suppressing our emotion, repressed feelings होती है, suppressed feelings होती हैं. अब जब grief आता है, इनको और elevate कर देता है. And in this situation, the problem is not one of identifying the emotion, but how to handle the overwhelmed situation. कल हम बात करेंगे कि हम इमोशनल क्राइसिस में अपने आप को कैसे हैंडल कर सकते हैं. आज हम अवेयरनेस में लिव करेंगे कि लेटिंग गो इज इम्पोर्टेंट. जब मेरी एनर्जी चेंज हो रही है, व्हेन आई एम फीलिंग बैड, all I have to do is accept it the way it is and then ask myself in the acceptance mode by quietly closing my eyes. Even अगर ऑफिस मीटिंग में है, लू ब्रेक तो लेते हैं ना, लू में खड़े खड़े भी 3 मिनट के लिए you can center balance a line and take a deep breath and ask yourself and close your eyes and just like, okay, now what? We can all become the channels of it. सेशन करते करते भी कोई कर सकता है कि भाई मुझे 1 मिनट करना है, and it's all right. So thank you so much to both the authors for bringing this beautiful journey in front of us, all about emotions. And now, these emotions are the reason where we get chaos. अभी हमने बात करी कि हम कैसे अपने आप को सेंटरिंग करेंगे आफ्टर chaos, आफ्टर क्राइसिस कैसे हैंडल करेंगे, वो हम कल उसके बारे में बात करेंगे. बट आज जो चैप्टर है वो ब्रिंगिंग chaos to order. So how do we do that? Let's hear it from Ruchi.
The Guggenheim Museum in Bilbao, Spain is full of surprises. The outside walls are cloaked in titanium tiles that create a weightless and iridescent feel. The fixing clips make a shallow dent in each thin tile that gives the surface a rippling and ethereal appearance reminiscent of fish scales. Inside, the complex shapes that whirl above the soaring 150-foot high atrium are a revelation. To the side, light is diffused through glass slashes in the tittering walls, casting perpetually changing, astonishing shadows. The building is like a car crash that is meant as a compliment. The distorted and dislocated areas create dynamic and unexpected clashes. Metal crashes into stone, man-made smashes into natural and flowing forms, slice into rigid angular forms. The Guggenheim is a great advert for the benefits of chaos over order. Simply walking through it is exciting and energizing. Frank Gehry is one of architecture's great visionaries. Inventive and irreverent, his twisted forms break the convenient conventions of building design. Gehry's playful and sensual structures always stir up controversy. Much of his work falls within the style of deconstructism, characterized by unpredictability, chaos, and fragmentation. The Guggenheim was an audacious design that shook architecture to its core. It opened in 1997 and was acclaimed as the greatest and most magnificent building of its time. The Guggenheim was a dramatic success, and its cultural and economic impact on the formerly unknown Spanish city was immense. The success of the Guggenheim was due to Gehry's insistence that the vision of the architect should be dominant throughout the construction process. Artistic vision is usually put to one side during the construction of a building, and practicality is dominant. With the Guggenheim, there was no compromise. The construction industry puts pressure on architects to provide extensive blueprints of a building. Gehry ignored that convention. The precision and detail of practical drawings destroys creativity. The architect has to think practically. Practical thinking produces something predictable and conventional. Contractors hired to build the Guggenheim were simply given Gehry's small model. They had to work out the measurements from the architect's model. This resulted in inaccuracies, which Gehry liked. Not having detailed plans made the construction process chaotic. The contractors had to work things out for themselves and devise completely new construction techniques. That is why the Guggenheim is such a wonderful environment with chaotic twists and turns that keep you continually surprised and delighted. Why then is our culture so obsessed with order? Many urban buildings from the last 60 years were built to the strict rules of the austere Bauhaus movement, with its emphasis on rationality and functionality. We are surrounded by geometric inhuman cities of right-angled boxes and grids. These cityscapes lead people into behaving like machines, moving from box-like buildings into box-like rooms where they tidy their belongings into boxes. Our offices and studios affect how we behave. This orthodoxy of orderliness crushes creative spirits.
Very
Orderly
important to
surroundings.
understand that हमारे जो भी लाइफ में हो रहा है, हमारी सराउंडिंग्स मैटर करती हैं हमारी मेंटल बीइंग पे. क्या सराउंडिंग्स से हम घिरे हुए हैं? What is it that is working? Orderly surroundings force us to think in an orderly way. Creative thinking is unconventional thinking and it flourishes in a disorderly environment. तो अब ये बहुत नई चीज सीखी आज हमने. अभी तक हमें बोला जा रहा था declutter, come to light, but what is that? What are they talking about? What they're trying to tell you is कि जब आप एक thought process में हो और उस समय आपके हाथ से 4-5 चीजें out of place जाती हैं, तो उस समय उसको उस समय correct मत करो. Don't believe कि अभी मैं हाथ क्या समेट रहा हूँ, उससे आपकी एनर्जी वहां डिवाइड होगी कि समेट रहे हो. It doesn't mean कि आप गंदगी के अंदर फ्लरिश करो. It just means कि अगर उस समय chaos है आपके आसपास and thought चले, let the chaos be, don't touch it. Don't work on it. Research 2013 में हुई थी by was written and Rylan University of Minnesota Carlson School of Management में. It found that participants assigned to a disorderly room produced more creative solutions than those assigned to a neat and tidy room. Because क्यों neat and tidy रहेगा तो कुछ दिमाग जाएगा ही ना. अगर आपका कुछ चीज wrongly placed है, इसको ठीक करने में कहीं ना कहीं corrective measure, creative measure, इसको ऐसे रख सकते हैं. We can keep it like this, but if everything is immaculately kept, दिमाग उतना नहीं रन करेगा. इसीलिए ये साइंस है. तो डोंट कंफ्यूज योरसेल्फ कि अरे आई विल लिव इन अ डिसऑर्डरली हाउस, डजंट मैटर, एटलीस्ट मैं क्रिएटिव तो हूं. डोंट कंफ्यूज द टू. Very clearly we are being told in a tidy room you can't be very creative, but in an untidy room or very unkempt room your creativity is at its maximum. What's true of a Spanish architectural masterpiece is also true of our workplace. It flies in the face of conventional wisdom, but a chaotic office or studio is more productive. Chaotic organizations are more creative than well-organized ones. Distrust the idea that we should strive for order. Order restricts and limits us. Now, Albert Einstein says, if a cluttered desk is a sign of a cluttered mind, or what then is an empty desk a sign of? बहुत deep बात है. Do you understand? अगर cluttered desk बोल रहा है, cluttered mind है, तो empty desk है, empty mind है. Now, इसको भी मैं challenge करना चाहूंगी this morning में. अगर empty desk का एक symbol है empty mind का, तो उस empty mind में कितनी potential है, क्या क्या create कर सकता है, वो सोचने की बात है. So life का नजरिया perspective हमारा अपना है. हम क्या सीख लेकर जा रहे हैं, क्या समझ रहे हैं, क्या imbibe कर रहे हैं, क्या implement करें, depends upon us. So don't go literally by the teachings, but get your own perspective. हम एक journey में आ रहे हैं. We are achieving by thinking. We are seeking questions. We are challenging the things, and that's why we are creating our life the way it is. So understand that. All right. Now it's time for a heart thought, and let's have a reader for heart thought. Manish, will you want to read the heart thought? If yes, please raise your hand. Praise. Each one of us is doing the very best we can at this very moment. If we knew better, if we had more understanding and awareness, we would do it differently. I am totally adequate at all times. This is our affirmation for the day. And let's understand through Manish. Before that, Ruchi, thank you so much for reading for us again on this beautiful, magical morning. Thank you so much. Yes, Manish.
I'm totally adequate at all times. Praise yourself and tell yourself how absolutely wonderful you are. Don't make yourself wrong. When you do something new, don't beat yourself because you are not a pro at it the first time. Practice, learn what does work and doesn't work. Next time you do something new or different, something you are just learning, be there for yourself. Don't tell yourself what was wrong. Tell yourself what was right with it. Praise yourself, build yourself up so that the next time you do, it really feel good about it. Each time you will be better and better and better. Soon you will have a new skill of some sort.
How wonderful. Thank you, Manish. So I'm totally adequate at all times. We don't criticize ourselves. We only find the blessings, right? So let's meditate, and we'll do a beautiful meditation today. Let's go on these same lines. Today we don't have Akshay or Shivani to record it. Doesn't matter. Let's do it live here, and let's understand. All right. Our back straight. Our feet firmly placed on the ground below. A soft smile on our face. Our eyes closed. Take a deep breath in. And out very gently. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Life is magical. Life is beautiful. Life is a teacher. Let's all go deep within ourselves to understand what are we vibrating at. Let's learn to speak and think positively. Let's learn to understand. Most importantly, let's start listening to ourself, our being. Let's hear the inner programming. Let's hear if we're using any limiting or negative beliefs, knowing that each one of us can change them, challenge them. Knowing that we are in the right place, the right time for the right things. And each one of us doing the very best thing we can at this moment. If we are lazy and not doing anything, it's the need of the hour, of the body, of the mind to be lazy. Let's understand our awareness. Let's understand our consciousness. Let's understand how differently we can do things. It's all about our perception. Let's understand it's okay at times not to feel gratitude. It's okay to complain at times. After all, we're human. But what's most important is that after we complete our complaint, do we correct ourselves and say, hey, but I'm so blessed for this? Being human means to be able to accept, to be able to judge. But let's move away from this world of judgment. Let's tell ourselves, it's okay, I've done something wrong in life. It's okay. And that time I did whatever with my mentality, my intelligence. But now I'm willing to change. And now I can make my today and tomorrow more beautiful. I have learned what doesn't work. And that's because I made mistakes. And that's fine. Everything happens for a reason. I'm a believer. But now at least I know what doesn't work, so what might work. Let me give that benefit of doubt to myself. Let me give that confidence to myself. And next time, whenever I do something new or something different, maybe I'm learning something, maybe I'm trying something, experimenting something, let me remind myself that it's all because I want to do it. Many a times, all of us think that we're doing it for people, but it's actually for us. Even if you want appreciation from people, it's for us. Even if you're doing something for somebody in love, it's something for us. Maybe we want to be praised, so why not praise ourselves? Why be dependent? Why not build ourselves up? Why not feel good about it? And each time I compliment myself, I feel more confident. I feel better, better, and better. And I know that I am a creator. So let me learn to let go. Let me learn to try and to lighten my grip around that noose. Let me loosen the rope. Let me make myself good enough. I am good, but I have scope to become better. So let me go in a better world. Let me learn, let me evolve, let me grow. And dear beautiful heart, please continue to keep guiding me, because I've heard from so many people in my life, सुनो सबकी करो अपनी, and ये जो अपना आएगा verdict ये आपके through आना चाहिए. So I really request you, dear heart, to be in alignment with the soul and give this body instructions what we are meant to do. What is for the highest best of me and all concerned. So guide me, alight me, show me the path of love and light. Because I am ready to indulge in it and move on deeper and deeper. And I thank you for all the support, dear life, because you have been magical. You have sent masihas, messengers of love from somewhere, because I needed that correction in my life. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's bow our heads in gratitude towards Mother Earth, from being the channel of love, light, energy, because all that she keeps giving us is unconditional. Mother Earth, we wish for you to have ascension, and we wish for every human being to ride in this world of spirituality. Now, as you look at your life level and on your eye level, let's thank our life lessons, experiences, and all the events that have happened in our life for some reason. We've learned so much out of it. Let's learn to accept that we are not okay and be willing to change that. The biggest gift we can give to ourselves is of this thoughtful love, unconditional love, the will. And now let's look above at the universe, open our hands, and give a huge round of gratitude. Thank you, thank you, thank you for having my back. Thank you, life, for having my back. Thank you, divinities, angels, and guardians, for blessing, protecting me, and for guiding me. Thank you to all the teachers in this realm or the other, in this dimension or the other, in this plane or the other, for enlightening me, guiding me, coaching me, mentoring me. Thank you, universe, for giving me whatever I desire for the highest best of mine and for others. Let this magic continue. Let's fold our hands in gratitude. Rub them together. Bless your face, backside of your body, feet, soles, front side of your body. Let's bless each other with a lot of love, light, abundance, healing. Manish, Ruchi, Jitendraji, Nikita, Manisha, Meenakshi, Ushaji, Pratimaji, Vijayji, Amit, Anita, Surendraji, Neha, Rohiniji, Shami, Ankur, Supriya, Ritu, Peena, Rahul sir, Amrita ma'am. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Lots of love and light. Be blessed, my dear ones. And today, all we have to do is go deep within, realize how the day is all about. If we have unfinished projects, are we ready to put them in once and for all in a brown paper with our learnings, our takebacks, our messages for ourselves in the future? Are we ready to embark on that journey and put a list on that Elmira of which packet contains what, and mark in front of it whether it is spirituality or it's emotional or it's personal, so that I know tomorrow when I want to start something, am I hopeful to look back at it? Thank you, thank you, thank you. Lots of love. Thank you, Manish. Thank you, Ruchi, once again for being the readers for the day. Thank you. God bless you all.